Hey, there we are. It popped on. How about that? Loving technology. Happy Monday to you. He's Rob Hunter. I'm Mike Russell. This is Russell Hunters. In other news, Rob, it has been, let me see, count this one. Carry the one. 39 years since I've been to the circus.
39 years. You know the exact.
I went when I was 10.
Years.
Well, when I was 10.
Huh.
I went to the circus when I was 10. And that was it. That was the last time I went to the damn circus. And I've got to tell you, I holy cow! I should have been going to the circus. I should have been a thing. Going to the circus. Circus is entertaining, and the reason why I'm bringing it up right now is this is a woke Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey circus. There's no animals because they can't do that anymore. You can't touch the elephants with that little hooky thing and make them stand on each other and all that. Can't do any of that. Got to get that out of there. You can't whoosh with the lions and the tigers and stick your head in the mouth and all that stuff like that. The old school stuff. So when I realized that, I thought, okay, here we are in woke land, and I am not going to like this. This is not going to be okay. Brother, damn. Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus has gone woke, but they did it without rubbing your nose in it. They did it without making you uncomfortable. They checked literally every single box. The ringmaster is 3 people, okay? A black woman, a white male, and a very, I'll put it this way, flamboyant Hispanic male. Everything is covered. Every base is covered. There is nothing that activists, woke nut jobs and stuff could do to walk into one of these Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey circus and go, they're missing this. Something isn't represented. It's all there. Literally all there. And they didn't rub your nose in it. They were just all out there entertaining. All of them were super, super talented. And none of them are rubbing your nose in any kind of ideology. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. That's the best way to do it, because when you point out the obvious, it makes it obvious. You make just feel stupid. Like, oh, we didn't know that person looked different than us. So what were the other takeaways? So it's a woke circus, but it's not woke as in the approach, the lines, the delivery. It's just, here we are. We're like a Benetton ad. We have a little bit of representation of everybody.
A Benetton ad. Heck yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that was, and before we came on air, we're talking about my biggest takeaway. I love the trapeze. I think it's so cool. And if anyone can, because Rob didn't get it, if anyone gets my Flying Graysons joke, then I've just come on, pop into the comments here, because I kept talking about the Flying Graysons. Everybody looked at me like I was, had 3 heads. So, but it's just an amazing, yes, it's just an amazing level of trust. It was really, really cool just to see that, like, I mean, you're going to let go of that bar and you're going to do little flippy things, and you're just going to put your hands out, and your boy's got you while he's swinging. Like those hands are going to hit an amazing level of trust. And it's really, really cool. I enjoyed every act. There wasn't any act that I was like, it's kind of whatever. Yeah.
I went to the circus probably 7 or 8 years ago, first time in probably about 30 years, Mike, like you were saying. And I was blown away at how much fun it was, despite all the attacks on the circus over the last few years. The elephants, the other animals, whatever else they were attacking people about. But it was still hella fun.
Yeah.
And it's almost like there's the Barnum and Bailey circus, or the Ringling Brothers, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's the Cirque du Soleil too, which is basically a circus act, but oftentimes more focuses on the trapeze type work, which is insanely fun. I watched this one guy in a recent one. He has this pole that comes down, and he just kind of swings on the pole. He's not harnessed in, and he's spinning around with this one long pole, and he's doing all these crazy things. And I'm like, dude, how many times has that guy practiced to do that so that he knows? He's confident that he goes out there on the stage, spins around at some incredible speed, all while holding on with one arm.
Yeah.
No harness. That's the part, right? All that work they put in.
Yeah, guy set a world record while we were there.
Oh.
Some 40-foot unicycle. This is absurd. You're like, I don't even know how that works. I don't even know. I mean, the guy, he was one of the ringleaders, and he was constantly on different types of unicycles. It was rad. But I wasn't like, oh, here's the token white guy, here's the token Hispanic guy, and they're gonna make sure that he's going to speak Spanish and this. No, dude, it was all just really cool. All just kind of flowed. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was very Cirque du Soleil-y. It was like Barnum and Bailey's gone kind of Cirque du Soleil. And I'm going to another level when I go to Vegas next month, and I'm going to that absinthe. So it's kind of a risque kind of Cirque du Soleil.
two people that we know have been absent and both raved about it. So you're going to be in.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
my girlfriend's parents were like, "We don't care, you're going." We're like, "No, we got other plans to go. We're buying you tickets." So it was like, we're going.
Okay, yes,
yeah,
you're
so
in.
yeah, I guess it is. I guess it really is that good. But it was. I was expecting a very woke, kind of in your face kind of wokeness, and look, I wasn't. I don't think the elephants were this really what elephants should be doing in our world, but I look at it in the same way that I look at the orca program at SeaWorld. Now, SeaWorld shot themselves in the foot keeping that Tilikum dude. I mean, Tilikum was killing people. The kid was a killer whale, and he was killing trainers and stuff. They just kept him. It's so big, we're just going to keep breeding him, and we're going to make him little Tilikums that want to kill other things as well. But the amount of good that SeaWorld did, that those programs did, those shows did, and exposing people to this beautiful, beautiful creature and wanting to make sure that they don't go extinct in conservation and habitat and getting involved and donating and being a part of that, I think is invaluable. And I think the elephants did the same thing with Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, but sad they're gone. I think they served a purpose. And that's the only woke that won there.
Yeah, and I love that this is true. So I'm going to back it up. We have a friend who's a bit younger. He's 31 years old. He's been on the Bromance before. He lives out in Los Angeles. And he was here in Phoenix a few months ago. And I said, okay, what is it? Because he's a performer, he's a DJ. So what would you love an event that you headline to be in the best case scenario? And he used the word monoculture. And I thought that was such an interesting way to put it, because it's like where all cultures come together to just be. And it sounds like the circus achieved that, at least on a performance angle, where there are just a bunch of people here who are performing. A lot of them make up of different races, sizes, shapes, colors, hair
orientations,
whatever. Because at the end of the day, most of us don't care about that. We just care about the obsessive labeling of everything. If that gives you some type of special status, versus why don't we all just get together, have a good time, and go about our separate ways when we're done having a good time. That's what monoculture is. And I thought it was interesting, Mike, that our friend is 31 years old who lives in this segmentation world where you have to download all the apps that tell you where you can spend money and where you can't, and who spends money in Israel and who doesn't, and who's not woke enough and who is. They have so many categories in order to be cool and be woke. It is a burden, impossible to keep track of. So going back to this idea that who gives a crap? Why don't we all just get together, listen to some music, and have a good time? Or why don't we just all get together and go to the circus and have a good time?
I love Malcolm, by the way. Absolutely love that man. Good Lord, do I just love that man. I'm like, my daughter's 18. No, okay, all right, a little old, but whatever. Yeah.
31.
I know.
But Malcolm's that kind of guy.
I know. You're like, I want you to marry my daughter.
Yes, exactly.
He's been
on twice with our buddy Ryan Hale. We talk about race. So definitely go back and check out those episodes if you have not, because it's probably the most honest discussion about a topic like black-white relations in modern day that you will find. So just type in the Bromance, Malcolm, Ryan, you'll find it.
And they had to meet quotas and have a redneck on there, so I got to play along too. So
that's what it's all about. It's monoculture. Redneck culture.
I know about mono. I definitely don't know about mono. But this is funny news. And yes, I do see a great guess. Ballots are out, and yes, definitely we need to encourage our vets to have a say, as most vets in this country are getting absolutely hosed. So something it probably easy to draw a line. I don't think you have to draw a very long line to between the black community of this country and the vets, as far as how the government has just screwed them in every single way and used them. And I'm pro-military and I'm pro-vet and my grandfather served and vote for me. And then they hose them. Our VA system is what our VA system is. Just completely screw them. And then same with the black community. Vote for us and we'll pull you out of the inner city. It's the same thing. I don't think I'm too far off on that.
No, I mean, just look at the stats, right? The stats are that we vote for the same people over and over again. And we love to get results promised to us, but we don't actually like results. Because if we did, we would hold politicians accountable. And I think that this is a major wake-up call for all of us. I got my ballot in the mail today. I already filled it out. I'm going to go put it back in the mailbox after we're done here with the Bromance. off and running. We're going the primary. I left a lot blank because I didn't do my homework. And quite frankly, don't care about the Republican primary and the county supervisor race.
You know me, dude. I go on the day. You know me.
Yeah.
I'll do that mail-in nonsense.
And I think July 30th is actual primary day, but I don't like to go to the polls, especially if I can get my ballot mailed to me and I can just ship it back in.
Well, it's funny. I registered Democrat, so my grandfather's ballot came to me. My father's ballot came to me. My uncle who's dead, all of them dead. But all my ballots. The minute I said Democrat, all these ballots showed up. My whole dead family.
How about that?
I kid. I would never vote Democrat. I kid or register Democrat. I want to take out my Republican register. How do you do that? I want to change my affiliation. I just want to be
do it online, or you just got to call the recorder's office and say that.
Yeah.
I keep registered Republican so I can vote in the primary. I'm too lazy to switch it every 2 years. I want a ballot and say, hey, I'm requesting the Republican ballot in the primary. I'm like, whatever. I'll just stay registered Republican for now and wreak my havoc from inside the party.
And okay, apparently as we're getting ready for the show, Rob, we missed KJP in a shouting match. I love that. Yeah. Oh, Brendan, seriously, it came from New York. Shut up.
From 2004.
Yeah, why is that not surprising?
Bush election. I'm going to vote for Bush on that one.
Yeah. So, but apparently KJP's fired up, and they have to be. I mean, literally the press, especially after this weekend, Joe Biden shows up to he was raised in the black church. Remember he said that?
Oh, yeah.
I was raised in a black church. And his performance there was, and again, I've really reached this point. It was sad. It was elder abuse. The fact that they keep putting this man in public is just, Jill Biden needs to get rung up for this because it's sad. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I saw somebody pulled up Beau Biden's Delaware PSA when he was there during general, his PSA on elder abuse. That was fantastic. That aged like wine. It just aged.
But here's the interesting part about this, though. Democratic voters had a say. And we always talk about democracy, even though we're not a democracy representative republic. But the Democratic voters literally voted for Joe Biden. Taking him out now does show you the Democrats don't actually care about voters.
No.
They care about this, the Hillary structure, right?
They've shown you in the last 3 elections.
And that's it, right? So this is more evidence that if you do vote Democrat, how much does your party really care about you? I mean, you can make the same case for Republicans too. But if they're saying, all right, we are going to push Biden out, regardless of how people voted, granted, people were wishful thinking that Biden was of sound mind and everything else, I think.
I think they were hopeful or wishing back in maybe 2022, maybe. But they have known. You cannot tell me the Democrat voters, you cannot tell me that the DNC, you cannot tell me that the establishment did not know that Joe just didn't have it. And I was pointing this out from the minute he announced his candidacy, to even the point where he won. I'm like, there's a remarkable difference in his cognitive skills from there to here. And now from bleeping there to here, it's just getting worse. And it's just him sitting there like a corpse in that chair at that black church. And when they said, everybody stand with me and sing, and everybody stood up, and he kind of looked off to the side and kind of motioned like he was going to. And somebody over there told him to sit his butt down and stay there. Stop this Weekend at Bernie's crap. Stop trying to puppeteer the guy.
The American people have a chance to say yes or no to that in November, right? So I think that regardless of what Biden and the Democrats do, you have a choice. But here's the interesting part. I dug into some polling yesterday that I saw, and these are numbers in Arizona, because Arizona is going to be a very important state, and that's where we live. So if you're not from Arizona, it's probably similar in your state. Get this.
Move here if you're not. Come on out. We'd love you. We'd love to have you.
But this is the other part about the whole Biden age thing. It doesn't mean Trump's awesome. And it doesn't mean that people think Trump's awesome. It just means that people recognize Biden's old, Trump's crazy. So here are the numbers. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable impression of each of the following? Joe Biden. 47% of people in Arizona have a very unfavorable opinion of Joe Biden. 47%. Yeah. 12% have a somewhat unfavorable opinion of him. That's 59% of voters.
Okay.
Let's ask the same question for Donald John Trump. Very unfavorable, 47%. Somewhat unfavorable, 7%. So with a 54% number,
Trump wins.
Trump wins compared to 59% of voters who really don't like Joe Biden. And I think that that's the big part about all of this ego and pride that involves ourselves in politics. Like, for example, in CD3, you in CD3 Lesko's district or Lester?
No, I was. It moved
to
to Gosar. Not yet.
So,
Gosar.
yes. So you get crazy Gosar.
Yeah.
And in this CD3 race, there's Blake Masters running who ran for Senate a couple of years ago. There's Abe Hamada who ran for AG a couple of years ago, lost by like 280 votes or whatever it was. There's a student named Anthony Kern, who is a state guy who was one of those fake electors. So he's running in that race. Ben Toma's another guy running in that race. I think this pride and ego is really what we need to really dissect here. Because again, even if you're voting for Trump and let's say that Trump wins, it doesn't mean people like Trump. It doesn't mean Trump has convinced America that he's
same thing
very
with Biden. Same thing with Biden got elected. It's the same thing.
That's my point. We're looking at politics all wrong. We're looking at politics as if when our side wins, America loves us. No, because neither side is actually leading. Neither side is taking a step of Reagan or JFK or whoever else the president was that tried to govern the whole country, not just your half of it. And that's very important to realize. No matter who wins in 2024, it doesn't mean America likes that person. In fact, most Americans will not like either person that wins.
So change the question. So instead of do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion or feeling about Donald Trump's numbers as president, his record? Do you have a positive or negative feeling about Joe Biden's record as president? See, not the person. Not do you like this guy or do you not like this guy? You got to go by the stats. And Trump had some damn good stats. I mean, real good stats. What's that?
Bad stats.
Well, he had bad stats. I think the only one we can think of is he overspent. Who the bleep didn't do that?
He spent a lot.
I completely understand that. I completely get it. I get that and I understand that. But you look at the other stats. You look at the stats that the metrics that we judge a president's success on, he crushed. And so if you say, okay, yeah, Orange Man bad, fine, cool. Orange Man record, pretty damn good. I was doing pretty good, doing pretty damn good. I think the economy was doing pretty damn good. Inner cities doing pretty damn good. Crime was doing pretty damn good. Inflation was doing pretty damn good. I'm like, okay. I look at that and I look at Biden and it's the exact opposite on every single one of those. I mean, he spent just as much amount. He spent, if not more money. So I think if it's we take the person out and look at because if you don't like the person, fine. Again, you just read the Steve Jobs book. Steve Jobs was a lunatic. I loved the guy. I thought he was amazing until I read that book and I'm like, this guy is a jackass. But I love his products. So I'm all about his product. I'm all about the results of his work. So I'm more about focusing on numbers and the result of work versus is this, guy cognitively there or is this guy just going to tweet and be a bozo?
Well, look, I get all that and I understand that. But what I still don't know is what is actually Trump going to do to make my life better? How is he going to lower prices? How is he going to deal with inflation that's been a pain in the butt for the last 3.5 years? How is he going to lower gas prices?
Wait, just because you said that, buddy, listen to this. Power, you're going to love this because I have exactly how, according to the president's tweet machine, his whatever staff he has doing this. And I'm sorry that I pulled it up and then I had to recently deleted it. So give me a second. Exactly how they're going to pull us out of this big mess. And part of that is to encourage grocery stores to stop price gouging, work with local attorneys general to stop grocery stores from. Oh yeah.
You taking a page out of Biden's book?
And what's that?
Companies. That's a Democrat tactic.
No, I'm talking about Biden. This is exactly what this is Biden's. This is Biden's. This is at POTUS.
Oh, I don't believe Biden has a clue on how to do it, but
no, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that if you say like how somebody's going to lower prices, it sure as hell isn't add $2,000 to SNAP. That doesn't lower prices. That raises prices, you jackhat. Everybody now everybody has more money. Guess what is going to happen? Prices are going to go up. Dear God.
Well, and everybody needs SNAP at this point.
Yeah, no joke, right?
Like, you make
Food
$400,000
stamps.
a year, you need food stamps. You can't afford anything. It's absolutely
Unbelievable.
bonkers out
Yeah.
there. But on the other side of that, I get Trump's talking points, make America great again, but I don't understand the policy of how are you going to actually lower prices? Because it's great that inflation has leveled off, but the baseline of the price is really the challenge here that is impacting the way I buy things. And, you know, it's not like I'm destitute, but I go to the grocery store and I feel like, oh my goodness, I have to make different choices because of the prices. Like, that's bizarre to me. Like, if I'm Trump, that's all I'm talking about. Here's my plan for this. Here's my plan for that. Because I don't know at this point if it's a supply chain issue, if it is, well, that's just the prices now. And the labor costs have gone up because in order to get people to work, we need to pay them more money. Minimum wages has gone up. I don't know all the particulars that I used to know, but to go to Greg's point on here about, you know, how not understanding how anyone would vote for Biden, it's very simple. Emotions. We are not rational human beings. We
Not
are
right now, we're not.
emotional human beings who react emotionally to things. That's the bottom line. Like, that is the big driver of a lot of decisions that we make, including voting. And it seems like this weird self-fulfilling prophecy, Mike, that we're emotional, making emotional decisions, which only make us more emotional and make us make more emotional decisions. So we end up in this point where one candidate, Arizona, 59% of us don't like. The other one, 54% don't like.
Yeah. Oh, no. We've been, hey, how many elections have we done this? We picked a smaller pile of dung. It's just what it is.
That's so true.
I mean, really, it's like, this is the best we have. 350-ish million Americans, and this is what we have. These are the two we came down to. It's going to be easy. I think Trumpy is announcing his the 13th. I think he's doing it. He's announcing his VP.
It's going to be the greatest
It's gonna be
VP ever. I'm just going to say.
I don't even know how to say it. Ramaswamy. How do I say this?
Press secretary. I'm
How do
still
I say
going
his name?
press secretary there. Press secretary.
You
So
think
let's
who?
see. Greg, the press secretary for Vivek. He's a hype man.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a hype man. So
And you're putting
order
the
for
emphasis on
deregulation.
emphasis on the wrong syllable. You have to say
What's that?
Vivek now.
I don't even.
You have to say it right. Vivek. It's like saying Kamala. You can't say it anymore. You got to say come. That's what you guys.
Come. Executive orders with aggressive deregulation rights, Greg, Keystone border, etc. The markets will love it. Okay. Markets may love it, but that doesn't really impact prices. And in order to get prices down, the cost of goods has to go down. And it's super complicated and super challenging. And who knows what the heck is it? Plus, interest rates are really insane. And the president really can't lower those. Not in control of that. So there's
Brendan, yes. I remember the debate stage. The debate stage was fantastic. The two of them were on. It was actually, they were literally a debate between those two on stage. Fantastic. I love
Brendan's
those.
quote on YouTube is the old South Park episode where the options were a turd sandwich and giant douche.
Yes. And there was literally a giant douche and a turd sandwich on stage debating each other.
But you have this story, Mike, that you pulled that Americans are now ditching these things.
Yeah.
Smartphones for flip phones because our addiction to these things is real. And I wonder, in talking about our political challenges and our emotional challenges as a country, if that move is what could save the republic. Because these right here, this greatest technological tool, which has more computing power than the astronauts who flew and landed on the moon and returned to Earth in 1969. You have more power than that spaceship right here. The problem is it knows your emotional hooks. It knows what you like. Mike and I have discussed, and I'm not going to tell you what I like because Instagram shows me every day. And
I was weirded out today. I went to my search function and it had a bunch of stuff that not even that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what happened to my algorithm? Hold on a second. I'll fix this.
Yeah. Well, and that's what happened to me. It wasn't even that I liked anything. It's just, oh, this appeared. And I'm like, oh, let me look at that. And then all of a sudden it was all of that. I was like, okay, all right. I see how this works. But see, that's that pull. That's that like addiction, if you will. So going to a flip phone takes that all out of play. So maybe that's a solution for America. This is more and more people need to adopt a flip phone and just say, I'm going back to the old school, or I'm going to hit the button 3 times to text someone. It's going to take me 7 minutes to send one text that says, hey, how's it going?
What's up, Jay? And you too. You have a wonderful Monday. And I remember when I made the decision to turn off any notifications on my phone. Dude, that has saved my sanity. It saved my soul. And I knew it because I went away for a week, went away for a hunt, and I do nothing. No headlines, no nada. I was off the grid. And I remember getting to the airport, right when I got to the airport, and I settled down, of course, into the airport bar. They had CNN on, and I immediately felt my shoulders tense. I felt my shoulders raised, like just wow. I'm having a physical reaction to getting back into the craptastic news of the day. And so, yeah, I think side of texting, if they get a flip phone where it's easy to text like it is on a smartphone, I'm down because I'm a texter. And so I would really like that, because the function where you had to hit like the button 3 times and then the next one and then the right. Yeah. So I don't want to do that again.
2.8 million sold in the last year here in the United States alone, flip phones.
Yeah.
That's, not quite 1% of the population, but that's not bad for 1 year. I bet you more people bought a flip phone than electric cars.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's it, right? I think that we're at this point where you have to recognize for yourself what controls you, what pulls you, because I realized something when I have communicated in anger. It's me not being in control, right? It's that emotion coming out of me and I'm saying all these horrible things. And I'm like, why am I saying these things?
I do that daily.
Yeah. But you're not in control in those moments. It's saying, okay, I'm pissed off, but I'm not going to talk. I'm going to go walk. I'm going to go do something else that puts you back in control. In, even me, as much work as I've done to try to get in control, this thing occasionally takes over and I'm mindlessly doing things because I'm not in control. I'm letting this algorithm and the dopamine that it offers me, the good feeling that I get from clicking on like or fighting with someone on Twitter or whatever, that pull sometimes gets a hold of me. And I think that 2.8 million people are recognizing that and saying, you know what? I don't need all the notifications. I don't need to know what's going on in the world every 5 seconds. I don't need to know that there's a problem in Sudan at the moment. I don't need to know more about Donald Trump or Joe Biden. We kind of get all that stuff. And the more we stay in it, the more we get involved in it, the more emotional we get out of it, and the less in control we are as individuals.
But I think that the point of that article that we're discussing is simple, that there's something called zombie mode, and you've been in it. I know everyone here has been in this. Y'all, come on, we can be honest with each other, where you just look up and you're like, are you kidding me? It's lunchtime. I just started looking at Instagram at breakfast. What do you mean it's lunchtime? What the hell happened?
Exactly.
Why are my kids driving? I just put them down for their nap, and I checked Instagram, and now they're 16 years old. I mean, we've gone into that mode where you're just absolutely lost of time and everything, time and space around you. And that's what the push to flip phones has been attributed to, is people just not wanting to have that happen anymore. Think about it, your day is wasted in just with your nose in this phone. It's blinding.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. I just saw a stat that the average person reads 62,000 words on their phone every day. That's just reading. That's not watching videos. That's not listening to things. That is straight up reading 62,000 words, text, notifications, emails, news articles, Facebook posts, whatever it is. That's a lot. And it equates to about 3.5 hours of every person's day. And that's the average number. So maybe you're at 2 hours, but someone is at 5. I think I'm between 4 and 5 hours a day on my phone, between reading things, between texting, between whatever else that I do on my phone. It's such a big part of my day, and trying to get a hold of it can be challenging because it is such an advanced technological tool. It's just all how you use things. And I'll go back to that reality, Mike. Regardless of who the president is, it's I still have to live my life day to day. I can't rely on, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to figure out my best way to live or to give me advice on how to live, which is what Mike and I did so well during the pandemic. It wasn't about listening to Fauci. It was about figuring out what your risk tolerance was and living your life according to that risk tolerance. It's individual responsibility, right? The whole thing that America was founded on.
Remember that kid that was making faces behind Fauci in his testimony? He was one of the Jan 6 guys and got out after 3 years, spent 3 years in jail. And he went to the Fauci whatever, and he was like making all these faces. The DOJ is going after him for the making of the faces behind Fauci.
Oh, boy.
They want him back in jail. This is just disgusting in every single way. What I think is important when it comes to these phones, okay, and I understand zombie mode, but we have an issue in front of us, and that is the next generation that was raised in this technology. You look at my kids; their cell phone is an appendage. It's part of their body. Like they know they would sooner walk out without their shoes on and their keys for their car, but they make sure they got their phone. And I'm like, what? Okay, they never forget their phone. I always have them come back. Dad, forgot my shoes. Hey, Dad, forgot my keys. All the time. Never, Dad, I forgot my phone. Never one time. So I talk about, when I talk about being in the outdoors, and I ruffle a lot of feathers when I talk about this, but I think you should never take technology out of your kids' hands outdoors. They'll never go back in the outdoors. They're going to be absolutely miserable. They're going to be absolutely, they have to have it. So the move to flip phones is encouraging, but I think it's probably just Gen X. I really think it is. It ain't millennials and these the Gen Zers. There's no way in hell. I mean, and by the way, no, I don't encourage my people to play video games while they're out there, on their phone. They're just the cameraman. They're editing stuff. They're capturing things, and they got the GPS and things, Onyx Hunt. Things like that. So they have it, and they're not starting to twitch midday, and they don't have their little tech fixed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
No,
and I get that too, because I feel similar in a lot of ways. I'm going to look up a quote that I just, Amy shared with me the other day. Give me a second here to find it, but it's very much in line with the idea that we're so filling our brains with all these other ideas, we don't have any room for our own. We're watching TV, we're watching our phones all the time, we're taking inputs in. And what it does is it shuts off your creative mind. It shuts off your problem-solving mind. So even as an individual, if you can get caught up in your phone and streaming the latest series on Netflix and on streaming whatever, it takes up so much bandwidth and so much energy that you can't really become a great productive member of a society.
No. I don't think that's true, because I have been streaming religiously the House of the Dragon. And if someone tries to take my line to the throne, I know how to deal with it now. Thank you very much. I know how to deal with it now. I know what I would have done, Rhaenyra and all those. I would have known exactly what to do with my dragons. See? So if it happens, I'm good. Don't tell me that streaming is a waste of my time, Rob Hunter.
I'm not, but it's all about picking and choosing, because sometimes you need to shut the brain off. The brain can't be going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you pick your show and you watch your show, and that's fantastic, because you can learn things from shows. You can learn things from wherever, but it's also about tuning into yourself and paying attention to you. Because one thing I've learned is that I used to have all these, I still do, these thoughts that pop in your head, right? Inside, what do you call it, Mike? When you have these thoughts,
head thoughts,
don't say them out loud, head thoughts. They're not necessarily yours. They come from somewhere else. They sit in your head. It's all about whether you react to it or not, whether you say it or loud or not. Because they're out.
That's right. Someone else put those. Those are those weird thoughts that I shouldn't say about people. They came from somewhere else. Yeah. Not me. Said Rob said. Uncle Rob said. Intern Beans. So stop telling me things are head thoughts.
If you say them, you own them.
Put them in there. Huh?
You say it, you own it.
That's why they're head thoughts.
Yeah.
I sit and laugh to myself all the time, and people know I'm having head thoughts. I'm giggling. I'm about to say something. I just said something in my head that is not appropriate. Not appropriate at all. Mm-hmm.
Here's the quote. Because you're right. But that's it. I mean, the inappropriate things come in all the time. It's totally great. By the way, Greg, just a side note before I read this quote. Greg gave us an update about Val Olsen, who popped in every once in a while. Apparently, she's being shipped back to Canada because her visa or something could not be renewed. So, Val, we hear you. You got to go back to Canada and what that's like. Yeah, the taxes there are outrageous. The people are very nice, but the taxes are outrageous, and it's probably already cold, even though it's July. Yeah,
I think the people in I don't even know if they're nice. I think they're just still in shock. I think they're just in this problem of like, is this really our life? Is okay? Hi, how are you? Good. Is this really our life? Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Is this really our life? Yeah, I think it's just perpetual state of shock. That's what it is.
That could be it. So here's the quote, real quick. Old George Orwell got it backward. Chuck Palahniuk, the guy who wrote Fight Club, is saying this. Big Brother isn't watching. He's singing and dancing. He's pulling rabbits out of a hat. Big Brother's busy holding your attention every moment you're awake. He's making sure you're always distracted. He's making sure you're fully absorbed. He's making sure your imagination withers until it's as useful as your appendix. He's making sure your attention is always filled. And this being fed, it's worse than being watched. With the world always filling you, no one has to worry about what's in your mind. With everyone's imagination atrophied, no one will ever be a threat to the world. Fascinating.
That is smart, dude. Do a follow up on that. Where's the next book? Damn, he died. This going back to this over here is a lot going on because in the comments, and by the way, tomorrow is Q&A, so you guys can ask whatever you want. Let's keep it I don't care. Ask me whatever you want. I don't care. Nothing off limits to me. So I just ask and keep it civil, and we'll so tomorrow is all Q&A. And Brennan helped me out there. He said he hath decreed the Go Show throne shall be protected at all costs. Damn right, with my dragons, by God. Yes. Yeah. Lynn said your quote was too long, so there you go.
Right, it's not my quote. I'll shorten it up for you. Orwell got it backwards. Your attention is filled up with nonsense. So now your attention is so distracted, no one ever has to worry about you contributing to the world because you're just going about. You're riding a 40-foot unicycle at a Ringling Brothers.
Yes. Holy mackerel! Let me tell you something. Hey, let me get this because this is something that right up Rob's alley because it has to do with hip hop and freedom of speech and whatnot. Rapper BG is now having to get Uncle Sam's approval to sing any of his songs or to, I don't know if the rap game we call them singing songs, whatever, but all his material now has to be approved by the United States government as he is on supervised probation. So this is I can't think of a more flagrant violation of the First Amendment than don't release him. Then keep him in jail then.
Right.
Then what do you mean you're going to let him go out and now he can't earn a living unless you say he earns a living your way? That is probably the most un-American thing I could possibly think of. Rob Hunter.
Always rappers, man.
Damn, rappers
always trying to clamp down on rappers' rights. This is indicative of the Department of Justice. I had a conversation with the progressive lawmaker, Representative Annalise Ortiz, last Sunday, a week ago Sunday. And I brought that up. I said, there's something weird that we all agree on. Number one, we don't really like our candidates as a country, as a whole, right? Some of us like each candidate, but not enough to warrant the whole thing. But what we agree on, the DOJ is out of hand. Whether you think the DOJ went out of hand and went after Trump through the Manhattan case and the other two cases, which I think are Trump's own doing, but the DOJ has long gone after people like BG the rapper because they're rabble-rousers or because they don't have the money to fight back because they live in poorer communities, lower income communities. So at the very least, can we agree the DOJ needs a redo? The FBI needs a redo. Maybe even the CIA needs a little bit of a redo, but they're too powerful. Yeah. And we have sat by and watched this happen for 90 years since the FBI was started, and now it's part of the Department of Homeland Security, which is just an extension of this apparatus to clamp down on all of your rights as possible, especially if you are as outspoken as rapper BG. I assume he is not on the he's probably more on the public enemy number one side of things.
Brendan just said on YouTube, you guys want to go DNC style? I can send you questions for tomorrow.
You see that radio host got fired in Philadelphia because the White
Yes.
House sent her questions and she used 4 out of 8.
Yeah, say this again. Say this again. So I'm sorry. I was saying yes above you. Go ahead. Say it.
The White House sent advanced questions to a radio station, which Biden was going to do his post-debate. I'm still alive. So he goes on the interview, and she asked him 4 of the 8 questions. So the station was like, sorry, this is not what we do. You're fired.
Good for them.
I know.
Good for them.
But it also goes to show you, right? This is the game. Brendan's on to it. The game is protect your candidate at all costs. Ask these questions, and Joe Biden will appear on your interview. That's how it always works with Biden. Mm-hmm. That is how the protection racket against the president have been, and that will continue to be. And millions of Americans will continue to bury their heads in the sand because they don't like the alternative. And that's all I'm saying. I just don't understand the strategy, the Kerry Lake strategy, the Donald Trump strategy. You got to make people like you. It helps. You'll win.
I want to go back to this BG thing. Like it isn't as if he, when he is on stage performing, he just pulls a gun out and starts shooting people. He's saying words. He's saying words. They might be about rape, killing, and drugs, and okay. Well, that's, by the way, that's a long line of the hip hop game. He ain't the only one doing that. And by the way, guys, help me out with this. I believe like the narco songs, the Corredores, correct? I think that's how you say it. Dude, those songs are insane. Those songs that need to, everybody's just out there singing along to them about rape and murder. And just burning kids and those are off the rails. But this BG guy apparently has to get Uncle Sam's approval to sing his little songs.
Well, this even went through a court. This was a district court judge that made this ruling too. So you think that the courts exist to protect your rights? Well, not all the time, because sometimes they like to protect government rights over your rights. And, it's the nature of things. What is one of the quotes you always say, Mike, about freedom and tyranny? How there's only one trajectory.
The trajectory of power is tyranny. Trajectory of man in power is tyranny. It's true. They don't let go. Look at all these people. They didn't let go. Nobody's letting go of their power.
No. I mean,
no one is. What's that? What do we got here?
I'm just laughing about the olds running America. I just saw Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio, who was big-time investor, Bridgewater Associates, one of the richest guys on the planet. He just said that this has been generations of horrible leadership by baby boomers. And I'm like, yep, thanks a lot.
Is that the guy that wears the really fancy suits? He's kind of short, almost look like a little mob guy. Talks really gruff, drops F-bombs, does a lot of speeches. Is that what you're talking about? No.
I don't typically hear him say the F word a lot.
Okay, then that's not the guy I'm thinking of. But one of the most genius things I have ever heard, because he was like, what, in my investment life, the one thing that I didn't get in on that I should have gotten in on, when Al Gore started squawking about global warming, I should have got in on this racket. He goes, I'd have been 10 times as wealthy as I am. I should have got in on that racket. Mm-hmm. And he said, let me tell you something. You want to follow the money? He said, follow the money here. He goes, in the eastern United States, the biggest basically banking investments are right now high-rise beachfront condos. So if any of these perspectives should say, if it truly is a rising of the sea, if we go up 1 degree or something like that, and Florida is going to be covered, there wouldn't be 1 penny invested. Not 1 penny invested. He goes, you're being lied to. It's not how it works.
You're going to break your bank account too, because they're insane.
Yeah. So anyway, just one of the best things I'd heard in a hot minute. I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Well, this is perfect, actually. Let's go back to this quote, right, where Chuck Palahniuk, the author, is essentially saying that Big Brother is the constant consumption because it takes our minds out of play. And if you think about what you just said, Mike, this is a consequence of that, because we're constantly distracted in fighting about nonsense. They build their condos and they get rich. Mm-hmm. And then they're rich protects them and keeps them in power, because the people they're allowing to build those condos fund their campaigns. The businesses that they build fund their campaigns.
Well, sure.
And then those policies bring the money back to those people. So all that is a distraction, right, from the realities of what they do with your money, because we always forget this. Every dollar that Washington spends is our dollars. It's our skills, it's our labor that we go trade for money at, either working for ourselves or working for somebody else. Every dime of it. Corporations, like on this iPhone, how much of this iPhone do you think is taxes? Probably half of it.
Easy.
I still pay the taxes. Mike still pays the taxes. You still pay the taxes, but we don't really attribute that. We brought this up, I think, Friday. What percentage of your income goes to just taxes, including the corporate taxes,
Forget
including
so
the
much.
property taxes?
Over half.
It's got to be well over half.
It's over half.
And but we're distracted, right? We're fighting about which old candidate is going to be better for us. Well, what if we focused on ourselves and gaining control of our lives versus waiting for someone else to do it for us? Because then we actually have the power and we recognize that we have the power and we could work together to make different choices, but we allow them to divide us, one party versus the other. And so much so now it's a religion, and it's almost a Protestant Catholic situation where the other side really doesn't like the other side. And then there's a bunch of us who don't really like either side that are stuck in the middle, but have nowhere to go.
Or just picked a side and don't know the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot like this whole, Palestinian Israel kind of thing. I want to go back to the taxes. Actually, it's funny that my sister had a pretty substantial repair in her car, and it's about $3,000. And she's like, well, the guy's telling me, just get a new one. These cars have trouble about this, about this mileage and this, that, and the other thing. And I told her, how sad this is that when I told my sister to get a $3,000 repair on her car, I had to say the words, that's $3,000 less than tax on a new one. Just tax.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, you're spending $6,000, and that's just local tax on a new car. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Especially with a high interest rate to boot.
What's that?
Especially with a high interest rate on top of that.
Well, yeah, but even if you're paying cash, there's no reward for that. As a matter of fact, you're paying cash. The dealership's not making any money. They're not going to deal with you. They're not going to give you any kind of good deals or anything. It's a racket. What was that book called? What was that book series called? Freakonomics.
Yeah, Freakonomics. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Freakonomics. There's a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff. But I mean, going back to real quickly, just my point about the beachfront high rises were about banking. It was just about the banking industry. The banking industry would not put a dime into something that is not going to be there before their money is paid back to the bank with interest. So this whole rising of the seas doesn't make it to the upward elites. It's told to us down here to keep us afraid. The elites, they know better. They know that ain't happening. So that's why they're putting billions into high-rise condos.
Well, that's going back to that's the difference, right? So the difference is those up here try to distract you with fear because it works. So you don't pay attention to the realities. So you wind up going down all these rabbit holes. I just saw something today about online. It is AI bot versus AI bot. Each one of these AIs, whether it's Gemini from Google, whether it's Claude, is another one, Chat GPT, what they're trying to do is they're trying to go on everybody's website and get all this information to make the AI smarter. But a lot of these websites are trying to block these chat bots from being able to access their proprietary information. So what we're seeing online is just going to get more fake and more fake and more fake, where you can't really trust it. And if you do trust it, you're going to hit like, and you're going to see more of it, and it's going to fully pull you in so that you believe things that aren't even close to true. And I think that probably most of us now, at least in America, we have free access to information. Most of us believe several things that are not true. I guarantee it, because it is virtually impossible to tell the truth sometimes. And, as a 27-year researcher trying to find the truth to present to you on radio stations now here on the Brewmans, I find it much more difficult to truly find something that's real versus something that is manipulated in some way. Even in the New York Times now, I question everything, which, I probably should have anyways. But normally their long form reporting was really good. It's just slanted a certain way. So I understand all that, but I just find that everything is slanted now to achieve some monetary end on the end of it, of which you may or may not be a part of.
I know tomorrow's Q&A, but I want to get to Greg's question here. Do you think what about that one? He said, can Trump dismantle the big agencies by executive order, or is this a Congress gig? It is. Well, it's a Congress gig, but actually, you can appoint, because you have to have them approve. You can appoint the heads of these agencies, and they can go in there and clean house. I mean, that would be a great call for Vivek. I do agree with that, but Trump isn't going to do that at all. Trump flexed pretty hard on the intelligence community until he realized how many of his properties and his investments and his family businesses are being watched very closely by those exact agencies. And those agencies aren't stupid. Second he took office, I'm pretty sure he knew damn well what they knew. And if they're doing this on paying off a porn star, can you imagine what they would do with the real findings of any organization, not just a Trump organization? That's why these corporations play ball. It's not just for campaign dollars; it's to play ball in this big system. So I don't think he would do it.
It's difficult.
I mean,
if anyone has a gripe with the FBI, it's Donald Trump. If anyone is motivated to change the FBI, it's Donald Trump. But that becomes the question, will he do it? Because if you have 90 years of constitutional violations consistently in this agency, they don't deserve that power anymore. So Trump could change it from within, because as the executive branch, he runs the executive. That's part of the executive branch, the Department of Justice. But there's only so much you could do, to Mike's point, unless you completely want to take them on, but then you're risking your own self in doing so, not just legally, but potentially in other ways too.
Because your families, your investors, everybody's been in. You got to understand, y'all. I mean, if they went after a Trump organization, do you understand? They're going after investors, they're going after shareholders, they're going after everybody. Nobody's safe in that. I don't think Trump will do it.
I don't either, and that's part of my challenge. Is if we really think the country needs reforming, the government at least, and it does, are we going to get it? Because he talks like he's going to do it, but is he going to do it? I don't know. And that's part of my challenge. Is the first 4 years, he really didn't do it. Is he really going to do it in the second 4 years?
It'd take a rainmaker like RFK Jr. It really would. It would take somebody who's just dying will change. And I don't think Trump's it, but if I could have anything at this point with these two people that are running for president right now, are the two nominees, that I would just hope that things return to 2019 levels, 2018 levels, price wise and jobs wise and opportunity wise. Opportunity zones might have been the coolest thing that Trump ever did, and he gets no credit. Him and Tim Scott get zero credit for doing that.
But that
was gangbusters.
Yeah, but he needs to talk. This is I never understand this about Trump either. He never actually talks about his policy wins. It's bizarre. He doesn't brag about the 2017 tax cut. Do you think the economy's good? I heard him say it one time. 2017 tax cut. It's the reason why. Because we restructured the way taxes work, the way people can invest in their own businesses without being taxed until later on down the line. It allows you to buy a big piece of equipment and not pay taxes on that until later. These are things policy-wise that are super effective. But here's the thing. This is another challenge for us in these inflationary times. If Trump doesn't win all three branches, right? Senate, well, all two branches.
I got you. Yeah.
Three,
the House, Senate, and the one party control.
The tax cuts are going to expire. And that means corporate taxes will go up. That means personal income taxes will go up. In an already inflationary economy, they're going to take more of your money away, either through a price increase on a corporate tax or through your income tax with high interest rates. So you can't even take on debt to go build something because the debt is too high to pay off. Your profit margin on taking out a loan now in a business has to be way high.
We just got to plant Elon in there and everything will be fine. And Elon, I trust, except for the robot thing. I don't trust him in the robot thing. And yes, Greg, I actually think that Trump, same as W, same as Reagan, because that's what he lives in. That's who he is. It's not because he wants power and all of this and that. He just comes from power. It's where the life he lives. It's not foreign to him. It's not something that needs to be washed away. Power and prestige and all this, we treat our presidents like kings. It's so stupid. But and I think literally the Secret Service, and Rob will back me, I've always said this, Secret Service, one job should be to stop the president from getting kidnapped. That's it. Don't jumping in front of bullets, please. Please. Oh, I'll lay my life down for this president. What? He's not a king. He's a servant. Anyway, moving on. But I think that Trump just comes from that land of power and big, and I mean, good Lord, look at his house. It's a resort. So I mean, it's the shrinking things is not into Donald Trump's world. So easy, family. I'm doing just fine. Okay. Big hands. Got big hands. When Stormy was there, it's cold. It's cold in their room. Yeah.
Shrinkage is real. For the campaign trail.
So, but that's it. I don't think he's gonna. There's no way he's gonna back down. Let's talk before we bounce out of here. I got to talk about this because it's absolutely hilarious to me. The state of Illinois has now made it a law that if you are an influencer, whatever, if you're just making any kind of money on social media, I guess that makes you an influencer. If you're making money on social media and you use your children in 30% or more of your profit-making videos, you now got to cut Junior in on this. Junior got to cut in 15%, and the children have a right to sue the parents if they're underpaid or paid a percentage lower. Oh my Lord, it's off the rails. This would have helped
Macaulay Culkin, Mike, back in the day.
What?
Macaulay Culkin's parents stole all his money, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, no, but here's the deal, though. No, come on. I have intern Sarah, my niece. Intern Beans, daughter. Intern Nuge, son. Okay? That's free labor. If they're in my videos, which they are, that is free labor. I pay them in a roof over their head, a car in the driveway, gas, insurance, all of that. I pay them handsomely. I don't need to cut them in on my Google checks. Okay? I just think it's a stupid law. Who are you pining to? Who with this law? Who is harmed in this law? Who was harmed to make this a law? They actually go to a vote. People wrote this piece of legislation, and it had to go to committee, and it had to get passed, and it had to be voted on to be passed, and now signed into law by the governor. Who the hell is saying that's not a problem? That's like saying my dog gets to get cut in if I'm doing hunting videos with my dogs. I need to buy them a nicer, bigger kennel. Stupid.
But here's the thing that makes me uncomfortable. There is a couple. The guy is a chef, and he has taught his daughter from a very early age, before she was 1 year old, how to crack eggs, do things. And it's the cutest thing. You see her on the video, and she's stirring eggs, and she's cracking things, and it's great. But at the same time, I'm like, you're exploiting your kid for views. And it makes me uncomfortable, so I don't really watch it. Even though the kid is adorable, the family is cute, they seem like a loving family, I just get real uncomfortable with parents using their kids to promote their own stuff. But that also means I get to have a choice. I get to watch or not watch. And I think you're right, Mike, because every time you see a law like this passed, new Illinois law requires influencers to pay their children, we're just taking our own personal responsibility out. We're just thinking to ourselves, don't worry, the Illinois state legislature is going to take care of us and make sure that children who are used by their parents to become social media influencers get a couple dollars here and there.
Sure, if they get 15% of my cut, they pay 15% of my bills.
There you go.
Exactly. They are being compensated. The children are being compensated. For children to demand compensation from what their parents are doing, I don't care if they're, they're filming them when they get their wisdom teeth out, because that's one of my favorite. My son, if I posted intern Nuge's video, did I show you that, Uncle Rob? Did Uncle Rob see that?
I don't think Uncle Rob has seen that.
I need to find it and send it to you. It is after he got his wisdom teeth out. It is. We learn what intern Nuge is into with the ladies, if you know what I mean. It's I think he was 14 at the time, or 13. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh my gosh. But if I did that would probably get a lot of clicks, probably get some revenue generated, not have to give him 15%. Pound sand, kick rocks. I'm moving out of Illinois. Screw that.
Absolutely. But I think this is a collective thing. We call them lawmakers. We don't call them law repealers. Mike and I have long believed that every time you pass a new law, you got to take one off the books because there are too many laws. Because look at this. This is an unnecessarily law, but lawmakers try to capture the public attention. So they write laws so they'll be in the news. If we paid more attention and weren't distracted, we would understand probably half the laws we have in this country are not relevant anymore, or vague or unnecessary, but we don't. So we just keep passing more laws so that politicians get more on the news. And all it does is create more money for lawyers, because everybody needs a lawyer because there are so many stupid laws. And not all laws are stupid, but there's a lot of laws that require you to defend yourself against. There are numerous ways that you can get in trouble and have to spend a fortune trying to defend yourself. It's insane.
Intern Beans, when she got up to college, she called me she's like, Dad, I need you to delete this video, delete. They know my friends know who you are now. To delete. I did. There was some that, she didn't want her friends, so I get years and years ago, that kind of stuff. So whatever it is, but I'm not going to cut her in. I'm not cutting anybody in.
Well, it's good thing you don't live in Chicago.
Well, I say that daily. Hey, y'all, tomorrow, you guys want to do it? We'll do some Q&A, and we'll have some fun. Rob and I'll have some kind of stuff we're just talking about, and we'll just kind of, any questions you guys have, just throw them to us. It could be about us, who we are, where we, whatever. Just let us know our thoughts on this and that, or, which team I'm on, black or green in House of the Dragon. So whichever you want to know.
Oh, I don't have HBO anymore, so I can't watch the current season. But that's what got me into Game of Thrones, was House of Dragon season 1. I happened to be at my dad's house when the first episode premiered, and I was like, "Wow, this is actually pretty cool."
Off
so
the rails.
Watched that whole first series, and now there's isn't there like a new main character in this season?
Well, that's it. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. This is a lot of it's rad. I like it because it's just too much fun. Yeah. All right. So let's do it tomorrow. Q&A right here on Russell and Hunter. In other news, y'all have thanks for playing. Oh my God.
Brendan's going to send us in advance. Apparently, he thinks as highly of us as he thinks of the current president.
4 p.m. Got you. I will prepare my answers accordingly. Yeah. If you guys, if you see me go like this during my answer, yeah, then you know damn well that I got the answers from Brendan. All right. Well, anyway, y'all, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow at noon right here on Russell and Hunter's In Other News. Have a great day, everybody.